Okay. What's up, guys? It's JZNES back again. Here we are to rock out to Hey Girl, a song that apparently plays in Dana's room, and I didn't know about this. I always skip over Dana's room on the second thing because I'm always so concerned with Kate and all that. Anyway, so yeah. More Life is Strange. We're doing Life is Strange episode 3 today, which is Chaos Theory. You see, when the drop of water it flows, it can flow one way or the other. It's Chaos Theory, you know. Jeff Goldblum there. No, but we're talking Chaos Theory today. Life is Strange, episode 3. Anyway. I think we already listened to all of these. Okay, so Life is Strange episode 3. Following episode 2, Out of Time, is the Chaos Theory. Now, this time, it starts off, it's post, obviously last episode, so it starts off in the funk of you either missing Kate because she's died, or spoilers, by the way. Spoilers for Life is Strange. This episode contains spoilers for all episodes of Life is Strange. Play the game first. Anyway. Spoilers. Now, either Kate dies, and then that's what everyone's mourning over, or everyone's celebrating Max, but still fucking bummed that Kate was about to kill herself, kind of thing. So, I think it's more impactful if Kate dies. Like I said in the middle of last episode, if Kate dies, and then you fucking that just makes more of an impact on the story, because then everyone's mourning over her. And that's a big lesson. And then Victoria and Taylor and all of them are really, like, it really fucking sends a shock to their system. And they're like, wow, like, okay, we were being bitches. We should have probably not done that. And then Kate might still be alive. You know, like, you know, when they're like, talking to each other, emailing each other, doing all this stuff, or feeling remorseful when Kate's alive, it just feels like, yeah, great, like, you learned your lesson, but also it's more of an impactful thing if she dies. Anyway, I know, I talked that to death last time. Not a big deal. What we're doing now is we're talking about the next. So we're in the aftermath of that. Max wakes up from a dream that she's been having, and she's like, Kate! And then you see you got Kate's bunny in your room there. Alice, I think, is Alice her name, right? Pretty sure. Anyway, Kate's bunny's in there, so you're taking care of that. You can feed the bunny. You can see that you killed the plant if you watered it twice, like me and Banana did, and I do every single time. And then she's like, oh, poor Lisa, she's dead. And it's like, yeah, I don't know what the fuck I was supposed to do. Intermittent watering, or like not water it sometimes. This is a cactus. It's not a fucking cactus, Max. Like, it's not a cactus, Max. Fucking Alyssa. Best voice actress in the whole game. It's not a cactus, Max. That's not a line she says, but that's what she sounds like. Oh my god. So, you're in Blackwell, and then you're in your room there. You can look around a little bit, and Max is kind of depressed and sad about Kate and all that. And that reflects in a lot of the dialogue. Then when you sneak out there, go to the bathroom first, by the way, once you're out of your room there. Because a lot of people probably missed this, but Taylor is in there talking, or not talking to herself, but she's like looking at the mirror or whatever. See, I feel like we already listened to Crosses, though. Yeah, we must have. Let's go through these. Sure, that seems like an appropriate one. It's called Duck Call, by the way. I don't know. Anyway, Taylor's actually in there, like, brushing her teeth or whatever. And if you go and talk to her, and if you were nice to her earlier, she'll talk to you, and she'll kind of give you a hint that, like, Victoria snuck out, and you can rewind and get that through. But also, she's kind of remorseful about the whole thing with Kate and whatever. And she's all like, well, I'm not, like, I don't just follow Victoria. I'm my own person, Max, like, you know. And I know that you know that since, you, like, listen to me about my mom or whatever. So it's a nice little moment with you and Taylor there. And she'll, like, text you later about how, you know, she's actually excited for you to come to the Vortex Club party if you did that as well. And there's a way, if you missed the part with Courtney earlier, you can actually get into the Vortex Club party by putting yourself on the list this time. There's actually, you can erase some names too, which my friend Banana did while you're at the pool there. And I'm very interested to see how that rolls and, like, who's, like, since I erased names, like, how does that affect things? So yeah, it's interesting. But anyway, so little pro tip there, go talk to Taylor because she's cool. Dana's in her room and you can go talk to her, and I'm sure that's not when you get to hear, "Hey girl," you know. Anyway, so you get to go in there and talk to Dana, and she's all bummed about Kate and stuff, and blah blah blah. You see Victoria sneaking out. This is you have another opportunity to go into Victoria's room here and, like, search around. And you get little clues here and there through some pictures and whatnot. And then you leave the dorm and you go. You're going towards the school because Chloe keeps telling you that she wants to meet you there. She jumps out and she's like, "Booyah!" And she's like, "Do you get it? It's like scary punk ghost." And Max is like, "I'm not having any of your shit today, Chloe. Fucking, like, my friend almost died, or did die in most of my playthroughs, which, like I said, is more impactful. And you know, it's not the time to be punking me, Chloe, or whatever." And she's like, "All right, sorry." And then they catch Victoria talking to Mr. Jefferson there. This is really, yeah, duck call there. Oh yeah, that's a good one. Anyway, so they have, yeah, so they see Victoria talking to Mr. Jefferson there, and she's trying to sweet talk him, and, like, "Hey, you know my photo is already better than Max's, like, you know hers is going to be a selfie, this and that," and she's like, "Can't you just go with me on the trip, Mark," or whatever. And here is where it starts to really show why choosing Mr. Jefferson here is, like, the weirdest, oddest choice out of all of the fucking, like, choices, because they clearly didn't, like, make that a part of the story when he gets kicked out of, like, the San Francisco thing. It's very, like, sidelined or whatever, because, like, Victoria's still talking to him like he's gonna be the guy going with her on this trip, and he even clearly says that he's not, and then she keeps talking about that still, and she's trying to, like, you know, go on a first name basis with him. "Oh, Mark, oh, you know, oh, like, it's gonna be so great spending time with you," and he's having none of it. You know, he's like, no, this is very inappropriate. You can't do this. She threatens him at one point, and he's like, "I'm gonna pretend that didn't happen," and then at the end she's like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" or whatever. You know, you look very Victoria impression there. "Are you fucking kidding me?" Like, jeez, like, that's Victoria for you. Anyway, so Max and Chloe are watching this the whole time, and, you know, Victoria, she just fucking sinks to all sorts of lows to get on everyone's good side. But so yeah, so then you enter the building. You start sleuthing around. What you're trying to do is find some evidence against Nathan Prescott and, like, for what happened to Kate and all of that kind of stuff. So you try to break into the principal's office. The door is locked. You get the key from David Mattson, by the way, who's Chloe's stepfather. Like I mentioned, she like stole the key from him or whatever to get into the school, and then you have to find your way into the principal's office. You end up going with, you've got to make this bomb. It's like a soda can and sugar, sodium chloride, and tape or whatever. So you have to go find these things. So you get the soda at the soda machine. You go to the science lab to get the sodium chloride and the sugar, and you can change Warren's grade there. My friend Banana got him an A-, but he changed it to an A+. So usually, if Warren gets like a bad grade, you can help change that too and get him up. And you actually find out later in his file, once you like get into those files, there's files later in the principal's office, and you find out that he's a 4.0. So if you hadn't changed that to an A+, I mean, that might have ruined his 4.0. Anyway, so here, let's stir that up a little bit. Yeah, good. Anyway, so you so you go and find all this stuff, and you can see a little extra things, like you can see some of the photos that were submitted for the contest. You can see like Victoria's photo is a doctor like in a really like stoic and like pensive looking moment. It's like, oh yeah, really cool stuff. She comments on Daniel's photo, and like there's one other photo that she comments on or whatever. So that's cool. And then you bring all this stuff back to Chloe. You blow up the door, an alarm starts going off, because of course it does. But it's obvious what you got to do. You just go to the other side of the door, rewind, and then you obviously are inside. You can just unlock the door for Chloe. No alarm. Everything's good. She has this like little remark about how Max is magic or whatever, and from the other side of the door you hear like fucking door or something, like fuck this door or something like that. Like it's just funny listening to her like struggle with the door or whatever. And she's like, I hope fucking Max doesn't rewind or whatever and just like totally beat me at this. I want to beat her this time. It's just funny stuff. So then once they get into the principal's office, they start looking around and whatnot, sleuthing for some clues. You get to find a file on Kate Marsh and like Rachel Amber, and there's like little tidbits of good information in there, which is pretty cool. You see that Nathan's like file on the computer, or on the his file, his like actual physical file has been like spotless, and Victoria's is too. But then you like see his file on the computer, and it's really messed up. And there's this piece of paper with him having written Rachel Amber in the dark room like 1,000,000 times, which, spoilers! Spoilers. Don't watch this video if you haven't played fucking Life is Strange, episode 5, or any of the other episodes. We know that's because he killed Rachel Amber in the dark room by overdosing her. And so these serious psychological effects of that obviously have weighed on Nathan quite significantly. He wrote that so many times, like, you know, I feel for him, you know? Nathan is a sympathetic character. You definitely feel for him once you kind of have figured out his whole story and whatnot, and that he's kind of mentally ill and all that. I think that's really cool. I love Nathan as a character. In a sense, I don't like Nathan, but I love that they were able to do what they did with this character, because, you know, he's just getting used by everyone. Oh god, and the emotional shit in episode 5. We'll get there when we get there. But yeah, you kind of that's a little creepy at that point. They don't really know what that means. Like, Chloe's just like, what the fuck does that mean? But it's like, if you know what that means, like, it's like, oh shit, this is actually kind of significant here. Of course, there's like files on Chloe and Max and everyone else. So yeah, it's all pretty cool. It's just like a little information everywhere in the principal's office there. And you can like find an email from Sean Prescott or whatever about something. I don't remember what it's about. Anyway, so you get all this information. It's cool. You know, you finally have some evidence against Nathan and like a bunch of other stuff, and like about Kate Marsh, and even a little bit on Rachel Amber there. And then Chloe like is looking around, and she finds this money for this handicap fund in the desk there, and you have the choice to either take it or don't take it. And I believe that in the alternate timeline, this is in episode 4, this is what the money changes, is that they either have enough money to have funded the ramp or not funded the ramp based on you taking that money there, which I don't know if that really lines up timeline wise, but that's the implication and the effect of you doing that or taking that money. And I don't remember if that really does help you pay off Frank and he's like in your good graces or whatever at that point. I don't really remember how that all that resolves. Maybe it makes that part with Frank later a lot easier where you're like trying to negotiate for the book or whatever. I'm not sure. Don't really know. Don't usually take that fund because I feel bad about that. So Banana chose also not to take the fund, which good on him. And Chloe will kind of, beat Chloe and be like, you should take the money. You need it to pay off Frank or whatever. So then when you get out of there, Chloe's like, you know what? We deserve some fun. Let's just go to the pool and like have a moment. And Max is all like, okay, fine. You know what? We deserve it. Like, let's do this. Sure. So they break into the pool. Chloe gives you the choice, boys or girls, which is interesting, based on a thing that's going to come up here later. And Banana chose girls. So either way, you get to go through the girls or the boys' locker room. And you can go to the other one once you get through the one that you already that you choose to go through initially. And there's a lot of little references, and there's like each character has like a little thing, and not like all the characters, but like a lot of the characters you'll see like little things of their storyline or whatnot, or you can like look at like one of the phones or something like that. Actually, what's cool about that one in the boys' room, I think it's Zach's phone. If you look at his phone, that message, when you're looking later, do you get to look at Victoria's phone later? I don't know. I'm pretty sure you get to look at her phone later, right? And then, or something like that, and that message like shows up there. I don't remember. There's some significance there. I think you look at Nathan's phone later. I fucking don't remember. You look at some phone later. I think that lines up somehow. Anyway, so that's pretty cool. It's just like a lot of little things there that you can look at. A lot of little references to different stuff there, and little jokes everywhere. So, yeah. And there's like stuff where it's like, oh, Brooke really wanted to go to the drive-through with Warren if you chose to go to the drive-through with Warren, kind of thing. She has like a little pamphlet in her locker or whatever. Yeah, that your whole objective is like to go to turn on the heat to the pool or whatever. Then this is also where if you kind of sidetrack and like walk around the pool, that's where you find the Vortex Club list, like I was talking about earlier, and you can change that or erase names, or I don't even know what the erasing names does. I'm gonna look that up after this and see if that does like what's significant about that. Then of course there's one of the sort of iconic Life is Strange scenes where Max and Chloe are in the pool. Max jumps into the pool and they're like splashing and they start talking about Rachel, and you have the choice. There's one of the choices where you can say like something about Warren, or you could say to Chloe like, you're the bro killer or something like that, and that's obviously like one of the things that will probably like imply more romantic things. It's kind of a choice between your romances there. And it's semi-significant there. So, but it's just a really nice little serene kind of moment of calm in the pool with Chloe, and you're just kind of talking about life shit, and it's really nice, and you're kind of bonding over that. And then David comes to ruin the party, and he's searching around. You have to kind of Metal Gear Solid your way out of there and sneak past him and stuff, and then just like bolt out of there. And then once you get out of there, of course, Chloe obnoxiously, like, fucking as loud as possible wheels her truck out of there. And there's even an answer on the messaging, there's a message on the answering machine the next day that, like, oh, we saw Chloe's truck, like, getting out of there. it's like so obvious it's her. You can erase that message. But it's just like, come on, Chloe, you couldn't have been any more discreet about that. But anyway, so then you get to go to Chloe's house, and you wake up the next morning, you're like next to her, and you have to like take a selfie, and she like photobomb, she like jumps in to like take the selfie with you or whatever. You get up, you've got to like change into Rachel Amber's clothes in the closet, which is like a little thing that like everyone kind of comments on or whatever, because your clothes are like wet or whatever. And then this is another significant moment after that where you get to Chloe will ask you to kiss her, so you get to either choose kind of. I mean, if you've made the right choices to get to this point, because there is ways to make the wrong enough choices to where you don't even get the option to kiss Chloe. You know, you're so plutonic, or you've totally fucked up all of your chances with Chloe that she just won't want to do that. But I haven't really done that. But I know that that's a thing. There's certain little choices or elements that like push you towards romance with Chloe. There's like it's almost like a point system. I've seen like a list of all the stuff that affects it. It's pretty interesting actually. But anyway, so you get the choice to kiss Chloe here. But Anna actually went for it this time, so that's good. Not that there was a different. It's interesting that half the time people don't go for it, half the time people do go for it. I feel like in our playthroughs, I think I went for it. So that's definitely. Well, the first time I was so ingrained with Warren, though, that's what Banana was feeling too, was the whole Warren thing. He's like, why can't I have both? But I'm just like, nah, you can't have both, dude. You got to choose. So yeah, but this is a significant moment. If you hadn't guessed Chloe was a lesbian by this point, you kind of know at that moment, like, oh, okay, hey, you know. And then you can start interpreting a lot of things about Rachel Amber and kind of figuring out that potentially that was a thing, which it was, you know, so that's cool, you know, and this is kind of your, hey, idiot, if you didn't figure it out by this point moment, um, so yeah, then you go downstairs, well, if you're, if you're Banana, you pretty much just go downstairs. You can go to the bathroom in this one, um, I think there's a way you could take a shower or something too, because you're like chlorine or whatever like that. That would make sense. Anyway, you can save this bird, which Banana didn't save the first time, so you can save this time. You can't go into Joyce's room this time around, so we totally missed that. Anyway, when you go downstairs, Joyce is there. You start talking about Rachel Amber and how you hope she's kind of like okay and whatever. You can you tell her if you want pancakes or bacon and eggs, and then you'll have to give her the ingredients for that. If you explore the house a bit, there's some stuff like the wine stain that ends up coming into play later in the past timelines or whatever when you like look into the photo. Um, I think, or maybe it's in Farewell. I don't remember. Anyway, so you can also go into the backyard. You can see Bongo the cat's like grave, and then you can sit down on the swing for a moment of calm. You can there's a part where you can help a bird inside, and then you can take a photo of him outside. You also get to see Chloe's like wall, like her big art thing. That stuff's more significant in the first time when you go to Chloe's house in episode 1, where you can actually like look at all of that stuff. Um, you can also start to see the dead birds on the ground. Now, me and Banana discussed this, but I can go into more depth here about it. There's a big theory in Life is Strange fandom that the dead birds and the dead whales and all of that signify, because, you know, like later on, it gets like way, way more of them. They signify Max fucking with nature, essentially, and fucking with time. And obviously, spoilers. Obviously, the thing is that like when you saved Chloe's life, that's the whole thing with the storm, is that Chloe saving her life causes the storm because you've made one improper balance in the system, and that's leads to the final choice of you saving Arcadia Bay or saving Chloe. But that all is set up here with these birds because it's starting to show that these birds are dying and nature is dying. There's even a guy near the Two Whales Diner in this episode. When you go there later on, do you go there later on? Yeah, you go there later on. And he's saying how all the fish are dying and stuff too. And that is also probably related to Max and her powers and you having saved Chloe. And then you making all these little decisions, rewinding and fucking up even more there. And even if you don't do any of that, you still have to make the rewinds for the storyline, the official canon storyline to progress the game. So either way you look at it, you're just still gonna have to rewind at some point. So, and then when you get to the altered timeline, you start to see whales are dying. Like there's like 3 whales dead on the beach, which is really fucked up. And that's because you are looking into this picture, which is a new time power that you figure out about in this episode. And you like actually went back in time and changed a really significant event. So these whales are dying now to show you like, hey, dude, you're like really fucking shit up now. You need to stop, you know? So anyway, you see all that in the backyard. You see a few birds or whatever dying. So you kind of get the idea about that. And then you can look, what is it? You can... Oh, yeah. So, Joyce, once Joyce has made the breakfast, she gives you the photo that you're eventually gonna have to... That's significant later that you travel back in time with that photo by looking into it. She gives you that photo, and then Chloe gets you to go sleuth around in the garage to get more dirt on David. And then they have this big confrontation with David after that, and you can either choose to side with David or side with Chloe. And of course, most people will choose to side with Chloe, which is what my friend Banana chose. And when he got kicked out of the house, he went for a high five with me. I'm like, I don't know, dude. I left him hanging because I'm like, I don't know, dude. Because David gets kicked out, and then that has something to do with episode 4 or 5 when... I think it's based on, like, whether or not you feel safe in the house in episode 4 or something. It has some kind of effect later on. So, yeah. It kind of affects things. And I've chose to side with David a few times, I guess. Just because I know David and I know where his storyline goes. And how he's also a very sympathetic character. Later on. So, yeah. And also because I know him from Before the Storm and I know that kind of shit that's going on with him there. And so, yeah. Anyway. But, yeah, so you have this confrontation with him. My friend Banana obviously chose to kick him out, like I said. So, but this is the point where he got really, really conflicted. And he's like, man, these choices are hard. You know, I don't want to play this game anymore. And I'm just like, no, you're going to keep playing this game. We're not going to stop playing it now. But, yeah, he got really, very, like, very, choosy. Like, he was, how do I describe it? He was very overwhelmed by his choices there and not knowing if he made the right choice or not, which is the game in general. So, once you leave there, then that's when you go to, like, the Two Whales again. You start sleuthing around to, like, get into Frank's RV so you can get his, what are you trying to get? You're trying to get dirt on, not him. I guess you're just trying to find, like, proof of Rachel Amber and that kind of stuff. Anyway, so there's this whole thing with getting Frank's keys. And there's a few different ways you can do it. And a few different information things you can get from Nathan or the cop. And it's just this like series of like going between each of them. Oh, by the way, also talk to the homeless lady here because that's how you save her when the storm comes later. By telling her like, you have to tell her the truth. You have to tell her that like I had a vision of Arcadia Bay and it's really fucked up or whatever. So you get to save your older self, Max, there, if you want to believe that theory. Anyway, so then yeah, you do all this stuff to get Frank's keys. This is like the infamous meme, like you spill his beans and I was eating those beans, Max. Those are my fucking beans or whatever. Like gets all pissed off about that. But yeah, Nathan's there. This is like one of the first times you kind of get to interact with him and make your own choices around Nathan or whatever. And depending on how you've handled the Nathan situation so far, he'll treat you different ways. Like, oh, you're so scared of me, or oh, like, what the fuck did you tell on me for? You know, he'll say stuff like that. So yeah, it's just interesting. Little dialogue diversions there. And eventually you can get Frank to give you his keys a few different ways. One of them is talking about Rachel Amber, which gets you to show him to show you a photo of Rachel Amber. One of them, I guess, which I never had done before, which Banana did, was to get him to talk about dogs and the dog fighting thing, to where he saves all the dogs or whatnot, and then he'll, I think, show you a picture of that instead, and then you can get his keys or whatever. Like, so once you get his keys, you just have to rewind, and then you get to keep the keys while you go in the past. Then you get another significant little choice here when you go into his RV. Also, Chloe calls you Spider Max, which is kind of funny. You go into his RV, Pompidou jumps out. You either throw the bone into the parking lot or into the street, and if you throw it in the street, Pompidou dies, and you never have to deal with him again. But Frank is also going to be pissed about that for like the rest of the fucking game. Which my friend Jameson actually fucking did that because he was worried about the dog or whatever. But I'll tell you what, that's not the way you want to fucking go with that. So anyway, so yeah, you can choose to save Pompidou or not. Then you go into Frank's RV. Now, there's also a significant choice in here. If you open one of the cabinets, you get to take Chloe's gun and give it back to her, or not take Chloe's gun and just like leave it there. And that'll come into play later. And the whole thing there is like, you can look around, you can see some of Frank's stuff. You get a knife, you pry open the vent, you find his like little book there or whatever, and it's got pictures of Rachel Amber and like notes that she wrote to him and stuff, like love letters and stuff. He showed this all to Chloe, and she gets super fucking pissed about this, which rightfully so. I mean, they were very close, and I still don't understand what the fuck Rachel Amber is doing with Frank and whatever. Apparently she really loved him, which is weird. I don't know how that even started, because we didn't even see that in Before the Storm, which is a bunch of bullshit. I still think that they should have, you know, done at least something with that. At least got them to be friends in that game or some shit. Just show us how that even fucking started, you know? She barely knows him. Like, how the hell did that happen, you know? I'd love to know about that. That's like one of the missing pieces in this whole fucking little series here. Anyway. So we see little snippets of that in this stuff. Chloe gets really, really angry. They leave. She's all raging at Max. She's like, oh, I blame my dad and I blame my mom, you know, because she blames my dad or whatever for him or she blames herself for him dying, for going out that day or whatever. Which is kind of really fucked up. And then you get back, you're staring at this photo, and then you go into the photo, into the past, and there's a cool little section where you can kind of look around at Chloe's house in the past. And then eventually you realize that the whole thing is like he finds his keys, and then you have to stop him from getting his keys. Now there's a few ways to like permanently do this, but there's a lot of little ways. Like you can put the keys in the cereal box, but he has like a little thing that finds the keys, like a little thing to make the keys like buzz or something. Like that's really handy. Like I need that for my keys, sometimes, or whatever. Or I need that for my phone. I think half the time. Is really what it is, or my wallet or something like that. It's like a little thing where I can hit it and it'll like make my wallet vibrate or something. That would be cool. Anyway, so he has this on there. So if you hide it anywhere in the house, he's gonna find that. So you have to throw it out the window or out the screen door is a common choice. I think you can like destroy the key somehow, or I don't know. There's a few other ones like that where you can just. But I think the most common one is throwing them out the window, kind of thing. Um. Sorry, I'm trying to think of if there was any other way to do that. I don't remember how I used to do it, but I don't think it was throwing it out the window because I didn't know about the window for the longest time, or the back door. There's some other way to do it where you can do it like that, but anyway, or there's like a way where with the phone you can like convince him to take the bus or something. I don't know. There's a few ways to do that puzzle, but anyway, so yeah, basically you're trying to stop him from going out because as soon as he goes out with those keys, he's gonna try to go get Joyce, but he's gonna get hit by the truck or whatever it is, and die. So once you finally get it, you end up causing this alternate timeline where Chloe gets a car. Her dad is, um, you see these in these little photos or whatever. Her dad is alive. All the photos of David and stuff change to William, and then her dad is alive. And then on her 16th birthday, she gets a car, and this car ends up being bad for her, and I'll get to that in a second here. Um, but then you wake up in this alternate timeline, and you're actually like friends with Victoria and the Vortex Club people and stuff. So it's all really fucked up. And then you get on this bus to go see Chloe, but it's the thing I was talking about last episode with the nod from the random bus driver. You see it's David on the bus instead of the random bus driver, and I'm like, oh shit! Like the first time I saw that, I'm like, oh my god, this is crazy! Like holy shit! And as you're driving by, you see those whales beached or whatever, and they're all dead, and it's really fucked up. So you see that off in the distance, and right, and then as soon as you get to Chloe's house, there's a few subtle clues. Like you can see there's a ramp going up instead of like there's still stairs, but there's a ramp going up. So you're like, okay, what's that all about? That wasn't there before. And then you knock on the door. You see William, and he's like, oh, Max, we didn't think we'd ever see you again. And then she's like, oh, I came to see Chloe. And then Chloe comes out in a wheelchair, and then the episode ends. And it's like, oh my god, what the fuck happened? Well, what ends up happening, slight spoilers for the next episode, but we'll get there, is that Chloe crashed her car somehow. I don't remember the specifics, and that's why she's in the wheelchair. So it's like, and my friend Banana pointed this out, it's kind of like an eye for an eye sort of thing. Nature is correcting itself, William for Chloe sort of thing. And it plays into the bigger message of the game, which is like, is Chloe really worth all of this hassle of all these animals dying and all these people having different lives, and like Stella's with fucking Warren or whatever. Chloe's in a wheelchair, and it's like, can you really save her, or should you just let her go? That's kind of the final choice of the game. And obviously the real canonical answer is let her go. So that Arcadia Bay is safe or whatnot. And you've corrected the life that was supposed to be taken that day. even though you got to experience all of this stuff with her. But we'll get to that in a future episode. Yeah, spoilers, by the way. I said that already, but I know. But yeah, that's basically the episode. It's a pretty good episode. It's not technically as crazy as some of the other episodes, like, but there's a lot going on here that furthers and sets up a lot of other stuff that's to come in the future. And there's a lot of good scenes, like the pool scene and whatnot, which is really great. A lot of good character development for like Chloe and Max and all of that. You get to find out a lot of lore about Rachel Lambert and like Nathan Prescott and stuff. So a lot of good stuff there. The puzzles and the gameplays and stuff is good. But, you know, like, it's not like my favorite episode of all of them. It's a pretty good one, but it is kind of heavy on the dialogue and stuff. And there's a lot of like little puzzles like the diner scene that just kind of drag on for kind of a while. It's mostly just stuff like that where you're just like kind of investigating and whatnot. And that can kind of tire on and get old after a while. I think my friend Banana was starting to feel it. And this is actually one of the longer episodes too. So it's not like my favorite episode, but there are a lot of great moments in the episode that make it worth what it is. And there's a lot of significant moments and a lot of significant choices and whatnot, which I'm not saying it's not significant. It is. It's very significant. But on repeat playthroughs and whatnot, when you already kind of know all of the information and have already putting all the pieces together and whatnot, it's not exactly the craziest or like greatest episode. It's still a really good one for sure, but just, you know, comparatively, because like episode 4 and 5 are insane, you know. So like, and episode 2 is like really good. Episode 1's pretty good too. It's just like, yeah, there's a lot to set up, and there's a lot of little lore things we have to do here and that kind of stuff, and character stuff and that whatnot. So yeah, but it's still a great episode overall. But yeah, so that's that episode taken care of for Life is Strange episode 3 there, Chaos Theory. I think it's interesting. I think it expands upon a lot of the theories and whatnot. I think it's cool that you kind of finally start to get some answers to some of your questions, and more questions are brought up, you know, like what's the dark room and this and that. So they're kind of setting you up and teasing you for the future episodes. And can't wait for next episode, because that's what shit really is gonna get super fucking insane. That was the other thing, is like, I remember this episode being a lot crazier, but like comparatively to the first and second episode, especially the second episode, there wasn't as much fucked up shit in this episode as I kind of remember. Compared to like Kate committing suicide and whatnot, or attempting that. So yeah, and there's definitely some fucked up shit in the next 2 episodes. So until then, let's, you know, fucking, it's gonna be great. But yeah, not much else to say about episode 3. It's pretty fucking good. I think I covered everything for the most part. Let me just scroll through here, just make sure I got everything. Yep. Looks like it. Alright. So until next time, until episode 4, this has been JZNES saying keep it classic, stick around for more reviews, underrated games. I'll see you guys in the next one. JZ